And my experience has been that whereas there is a lot of great value in the teachings and techniques of Tantra that can help people in their erotic dimension, in their erotic life. And I think that's really needed in the world at this time. But there's a much broader and deeper dimension to Tantra, which is really about those two pillars of love and consciousness. And how can we, I'll try to say it really briefly, say that we're living in a world of duality, of polarities, which gets played out with things like male and female, life and death, victim and perpetrator, all these kind of polarities. How can it be that we can expand our view, our consciousness, our being, so that we can embrace these seeming opposites? And typically we experience those opposites at play and causing all kinds of inner division and conflict within ourselves. How can I begin to embrace them and include them within, and bring it, and see that there's actually an underlying or a oneness or a greater harmony? And I think that is the real Tantra vision.
Interesting. So thanks a lot for clearing out some of the misconceptions, right, that people might have, especially if they watch one view of Tantra, or maybe if they watch a video where, like you mentioned, half naked people are dancing around, and so the mind thinks in different ways, right, depending on your upbringing and how you project onto people. But then there's so much more to Tantra, like you've sort of alluded to, is the going on a journey to understand that even though there are polarities, you can understand both polarities, but then understand both are part of a whole and experience transcendence. What is your definition of sensuality, and how is Tantra involved in this?
So to me, sensuality is part of our birthright. Even if we take a kind of scientific view of what we are as biological beings, so that's part of our makeup, right? We're here in a physical body, and when we have physiological needs and biological drives. And part of that is that we've got all these senses and a nervous system that has been developed and refined over millions of years. It's exquisitely sensitive within certain parameters, within certain limits. And why not explore that? Why not find out what we're capable of in a way that's going to uplift us and empower us? Rather than just start out from a place of, sensuality is bad and something to be condemned. So I think that a basic element of reality of life on Earth is something called eros. And eros isn't necessarily just about being sexual. It's about a feeling of aliveness that can be experienced through the whole body, and through the senses, and through everything that we are.
The feeling of aliveness. I'm sure that everyone over here wants to experience that. I remember one of my favorite quotes by Joseph Campbell is that he says, perhaps we're not seeking for the meaning of life, but we're seeking the experience of being alive. And instead of avoiding our senses, how about we consciously explore in our senses and experience these peak states that we can experience through the senses, instead of resorting to maybe drugs or other forms of addiction that people can go down the route of, right? And they're doing it mainly because they want to feel that ecstasy, they want to feel that bliss, they want to feel that, I guess, sensuality as well. But what if we do that in a more conscious, sacred manner? And you've said that the state that we get into in an orgasm is very potent and it's a magical state. So talk to us more about this.
So I think the orgasmic state is, in a way, has quite some similarities to a state of deep meditation or some kind of peak experience.
Mhm.
You know, it may be that you experience time differently. You experience your boundaries are somehow dissolved, and you can experience a sense of melting and union with your beloved, whatever the beloved is. That might be another person. Your beloved might be spirit. It might be inner feminine and masculine energies. So there's this way in which we can experience union rather than separation. And separation is usually leaves us with a sense of disconnection and isolation and pain, fragility, mortality. But if we can feel that we're connected to something greater than, then we feel that we're part of something larger, and that we're intimately connected to a kind of web of life. And I think orgasm is one of the keys to that. And maybe even the early meditators somehow made a connection there that it's like meditation is like the orgasm without sex, without having to have sex to get there. It's just through coming into a certain kind of at homeness in our being, just enjoying our being.